The ocean is the foundation of life on Earth and functions as the planet's most powerful natural life support system. Covering more than 70% of the Earth's surface, the ocean is not just a vast body of water, but a complex, living system that sustains ecosystems, regulates climate, and makes human survival possible. One of its most critical roles is the production of oxygen. Tiny marine plants known as phytoplankton generate over half of the oxygen in the Earth's atmosphere through photosynthesis. Every second breath we take is directly linked to the health of the ocean, making it impossible to separate human life from ocean life. Beyond oxygen production, the ocean plays a central role in regulating the planet's climate. It absorbs and stores enormous amounts of heat from the sun, distributing it around the globe through powerful ocean currents. These currents influence weather patterns, rainfall, and temperature, shaping climates from tropical regions to polar zones. Without this natural temperature regulation, the Earth would experience far more extreme weather conditions, making large areas uninhabitable. The ocean acts as a buffer, stabilizing the climate system that agriculture, wildlife, and human societies depend on. The ocean is also one of the planet's largest carbon sinks. It absorbs roughly a quarter of the carbon dioxide released into the atmosphere by human activities each year. By taking in this excess carbon, the ocean helps slow the pace of climate change and reduces the severity of global warming. However, this service comes at a cost. As carbon dioxide dissolves into seawater, it causes ocean acidification, which threatens coral reefs, shellfish, and countless marine organisms. This delicate balance highlights how deeply interconnected the ocean is with Earth's environmental health and how human actions can push this system toward collapse. Marine ecosystems supported by the ocean are among the most diverse on the planet. Coral reefs, mangroves, seagrass meadows, deep sea vents, and open ocean habitats provide homes for millions of species, many of which are still undiscovered. These ecosystems are not only biologically rich, but also essential for maintaining ecological balance. Predators and prey exist in carefully maintained food webs that regulate population sizes and prevent ecosystem breakdown. When ocean ecosystems are damaged, the consequences ripple outward, affecting biodiversity, fisheries, and even land-based ecosystems. The ocean also plays a vital role in the global water cycle. Through evaporation, it supplies moisture to the atmosphere, leading to cloud formation and precipitation. Rainfall that feeds rivers, fills reservoirs, and supports agriculture around the world begins in the ocean. Without healthy oceans, this cycle would be disrupted, leading to droughts in some regions and floods in others. In this way, the ocean silently supports freshwater availability, food production, and daily human life. Human civilization itself has always been closely tied to the ocean. Coastal regions are home to a significant portion of the world's population, and oceans have long served as pathways for trade, cultural exchange, and exploration. The stability of these societies depends on predictable sea levels, healthy fisheries, and resilient coastal ecosystems. When oceans are degraded, coastal communities face rising sea levels, stronger storms, erosion, and loss of livelihoods. Protecting the ocean is therefore not only an environmental issue, but also a social and economic necessity. The ocean's ability to sustain life is not limitless. While it has shown remarkable resilience over millions of years, the scale and speed of modern human impact are unprecedented. Overfishing, pollution, habitat destruction, and climate change are pushing marine systems beyond their capacity to recover. When the ocean's life support functions weaken, the entire planet feels the impact. Food chains collapse, climate regulation falters, and human health and security are put at risk. Understanding the ocean as the heart of Earth's life support system changes how we view environmental protection. It shifts the conversation from seeing the ocean as a resource to be exploited to recognizing it as a living system that must be respected and protected. Safeguarding ocean health means preserving oxygen production, climate stability, biodiversity, and the natural processes that allow life to thrive on Earth. In essence, protecting the ocean is not a separate environmental goal. It is the foundation of protecting life on our planet itself. The health of the ocean is deeply connected to the health, security, and prosperity of human societies around the world. For millions of people, especially those living in coastal and island communities, the ocean is not a distant natural feature, but a daily source of food, income, and cultural identity. Fisheries and aquaculture provide a primary source of protein for more than 3 billion people globally, making seafood one of the most important components of global food security. When oceans are clean and ecosystems are balanced, they can sustainably support this demand for generations. When they are polluted or overexploited, the consequences are felt directly on dinner plates and in household incomes. Healthy oceans support livelihoods across multiple sectors, including fishing, tourism, transportation, and energy. Small-scale fishers depend on stable fish populations to support their families, while large commercial fisheries fuel national economies and international trade. Tourism linked to oceans and coastlines, such as beaches, coral reefs, and marine wildlife, generates billions of dollars annually and provides employment to millions of people. Clean water, vibrant marine life, and healthy coastal ecosystems are essential to sustaining this economic activity. When coral reefs bleach, beaches become polluted, or fish stocks collapse, jobs disappear, and entire communities are pushed into economic hardship. Ocean health also plays a critical role in human physical health. Polluted oceans introduce toxins into the food chain that can eventually reach humans. Heavy metals, microplastics, and chemical contaminants accumulate in fish and shellfish, increasing the risk of illness when consumed. Coastal waters contaminated by sewage or industrial runoff can spread waterborne diseases, affecting communities that rely on the sea for recreation or subsistence. Protecting ocean water quality is therefore essential not only for marine life, but also for preventing public health crises. Mental and emotional well-being are also linked to healthy oceans. Coastal and marine environments provide spaces for recreation, relaxation, and cultural practices that strengthen community bonds and individual mental health. Many cultures have spiritual and historical connections to the sea, viewing it as a source of identity and heritage. When ocean ecosystems degrade, these cultural ties are weakened, and communities can experience a loss that goes beyond economics, affecting social cohesion and emotional resilience. The protection of coastal ecosystems such as mangroves, coral reefs, and seagrass meadows has direct benefits for human safety. These natural barriers reduce the impact of storms, hurricanes, and rising sea levels by absorbing wave energy and preventing coastal erosion. Healthy reefs and mangroves can significantly reduce flooding and property damage during extreme weather events. As climate change increases the frequency and intensity of storms, the role of intact ocean and coastal ecosystems in protecting human lives and infrastructure becomes even more critical. Ocean health is also closely tied to global inequality and justice. Many of the people most dependent on marine resources contribute the least to ocean pollution and climate change, yet they suffer the greatest consequences when oceans are damaged. Overfishing by industrial fleets, plastic pollution, and climate-driven changes often originate far from the communities most affected. Protecting oceans, therefore, requires not only environmental action, but also fair policies that support sustainable livelihoods, protect small-scale fishers, and ensure equitable access to marine resources. When oceans decline, the ripple effects extend far beyond coastal areas. Disrupted fisheries can increase food prices, contributing to hunger and political instability in vulnerable regions. Loss of tourism revenue can weaken national economies, while damage to coastal infrastructure can strain public resources. In contrast, investing in ocean protection through sustainable fishing practices, pollution control, and marine conservation delivers long-term economic and social benefits that outweigh short-term exploitation. Ultimately, caring for the ocean is an investment in human well-being. Clean, resilient oceans provide nutritious food, stable jobs, protection from natural disasters, and cultural richness. They support physical health, economic security, and social stability on a global scale. Recognizing that ocean health directly affects human health and livelihoods transforms ocean conservation from an abstract environmental concern into a practical and moral responsibility. Protecting the ocean means protecting people, communities, and the future we all share. Pollution has emerged as one of the most destructive and far-reaching threats to the world's oceans, undermining marine ecosystems and endangering the delicate balance that sustains life both in the sea and on land. Unlike many natural pressures, pollution is almost entirely driven by human activity, making it a crisis that is both preventable and reversible if addressed with urgency and responsibility. From plastics and chemicals to oil and untreated waste, pollutants enter the ocean daily, accumulating over time and causing damage that can persist for decades or even centuries. Plastic pollution is perhaps the most visible and alarming form of ocean contamination. Millions of tons of plastic waste enter the oceans each year through rivers, coastal dumping, and inadequate waste management systems. Once in the marine environment, plastics do not biodegrade in the traditional sense. Instead, they break down into smaller fragments known as microplastics. These tiny particles are easily ingested by marine organisms, from plankton to fish to whales, entering the food chain at its very foundation. As a result, plastic pollution not only harms marine life, but also finds its way back to humans through seafood consumption, raising serious concerns about long-term health impacts. Marine animals are especially vulnerable to plastic waste. Sea turtles mistake plastic bags for jellyfish, seabirds feed plastic fragments to their chicks, and marine mammals become entangled in discarded fishing gear, often leading to injury or death. These incidents are not isolated. They represent a widespread pattern of suffering caused by materials designed for short-term human convenience, but left to persist in the environment indefinitely. Entire species and ecosystems are placed at risk as pollution alters habitats and disrupts natural behaviors essential for survival. Chemical pollution presents another serious danger to ocean health. Industrial runoff, agricultural pesticides, and fertilizers flow into rivers and eventually reach the sea, carrying toxic substances that poison marine environments. Excess nutrients from fertilizers cause harmful algal blooms, which deplete oxygen levels in the water and create so-called dead zones, where marine life cannot survive. These dead zones have increased dramatically in number and size over recent decades, transforming once thriving ecosystems into lifeless waters and devastating local fisheries. Oil pollution, while less frequent than plastic or chemical runoff, can have catastrophic consequences when it occurs. Oil spills coat marine organisms, destroy coastal habitats, and disrupt ecosystems for years. Even smaller, chronic oil leaks from ships and offshore drilling operations contribute to long-term contamination. Oil interferes with the insulation and buoyancy of birds and mammals, damages fish reproduction, and contaminates sediments that serve as the foundation of marine food webs. The economic and environmental costs of oil pollution often extend far beyond the initial spill. affecting communities and ecosystems for generations. Sewage and wastewater pollution also pose significant threats, particularly in densely populated coastal regions. When untreated or poorly treated sewage is released into the ocean, it introduces harmful bacteria, viruses, and nutrients into marine waters. This contamination can make coastal areas unsafe for swimming and fishing, spread disease, and further contribute to oxygen depletion. Communities that depend on coastal waters for food and recreation are especially vulnerable, as polluted waters directly affect public health and quality of life. The impact of pollution on coral reefs is especially devastating. Corals are highly sensitive organisms that require clean, clear water to survive. Sedimentation, chemical contaminants, and plastic debris can smother coral reefs, block sunlight, and weaken coral structures. When combined with warming waters and ocean acidification, pollution accelerates coral decline, threatening some of the most biodiverse ecosystems on Earth. The loss of coral reefs not only reduces marine biodiversity, but also removes critical natural defenses against storms and coastal erosion. Addressing ocean pollution requires action at every level of society. Governments must enforce strong environmental regulations, invest in waste management infrastructure, and hold polluters accountable. Industries must adopt cleaner production methods, reduce single-use plastics, and take responsibility for the full life cycle of their products. Individuals also play a crucial role by reducing plastic use, recycling properly, conserving water, and supporting policies and businesses that prioritize environmental responsibility. Reducing ocean pollution is not simply an environmental goal. It is a moral and practical necessity. Clean oceans are essential for healthy ecosystems, safe food supplies, resilient coastal communities, and a stable planet. Every piece of waste prevented from reaching the ocean is a step toward recovery and resilience. By recognizing pollution as one of the greatest threats to our oceans and taking collective action to combat it, humanity can protect marine life, safeguard human health, and ensure that the oceans continue to sustain life for generations to come. Climate change is transforming the world's oceans in profound and dangerous ways, making it one of the most serious threats to marine ecosystems and the planet as a whole. The oceans absorb more than 90% of the excess heat trapped by greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, acting as a buffer that slows the pace of global warming on land. While this has protected human societies from even more extreme temperature increases, it has placed enormous stress on marine environments. Rising ocean temperatures, increasing acidity, and changing circulation patterns are disrupting life beneath the surface and weakening the ocean's ability to support ecosystems and human communities. One of the most visible impacts of climate change on the ocean is warming water temperatures. Many marine species are highly sensitive to temperature changes and can only survive within a narrow range. As waters warm, fish and other marine organisms are forced to migrate toward cooler regions, often moving away from traditional fishing grounds. This shift disrupts ecosystems and threatens food security for communities that depend on stable fish populations. Species that cannot adapt or migrate quickly enough face population declines or extinction, reducing biodiversity and weakening the resilience of marine systems. Coral reefs are among the most vulnerable ecosystems affected by ocean warming. Corals live in a delicate symbiotic relationship with microscopic algae that provide them with food and vibrant color. When ocean temperatures rise even slightly above normal levels, this relationship breaks down, causing corals to expel the algae in a process known as coral bleaching. Bleached corals are weakened, and if stressful conditions persist, often die. Widespread coral bleaching events have become more frequent and severe in recent decades, leading to the loss of vast reef areas that support countless marine species and protect coastlines from storms. In addition to warming, climate change is causing ocean acidification, a less visible but equally dangerous process. As the ocean absorbs carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, chemical reactions lower the pH of seawater, making it more acidic. This change interferes with the ability of many marine organisms, such as shellfish, corals, and certain plankton, to build and maintain their calcium carbonate shells and skeletons. These organisms form the foundation of marine food webs, so their decline has cascading effects throughout the ocean ecosystem, ultimately impacting fisheries and human food supplies. Climate change also affects ocean circulation and weather patterns. Altered currents can change nutrient distribution, affecting plankton growth and the entire marine food chain. Stronger and more frequent storms, fueled by warmer ocean waters, cause increased coastal erosion, flooding, and damage to marine habitats. Mangroves, seagrasses, and coral reefs, which serve as natural coastal defenses, are increasingly strained by these changes, reducing their ability to protect shorelines and support marine life. Rising sea levels, another consequence of climate change, pose a significant threat to coastal and island communities. As glaciers and ice sheets melt and warmer water expands, sea levels continue to rise, flooding low-lying areas and contaminating freshwater supplies with saltwater intrusion. This not only displaces human populations, but also destroys critical coastal ecosystems, such as wetlands and estuaries, that serve as nurseries for marine species. The loss of these habitats further reduces biodiversity and weakens fisheries. The effects of climate change on the ocean are interconnected and self-reinforcing. As ecosystems degrade, the ocean becomes less effective at absorbing carbon dioxide and regulating climate, accelerating global warming. This feedback loop underscores the urgency of addressing climate change to protect ocean health. Reducing greenhouse gas emissions is essential, but so is supporting ocean resilience through conservation efforts such as marine protected areas, habitat restoration, and sustainable fisheries management. Protecting the ocean in the face of climate change requires global cooperation and long-term commitment. Individual nations cannot solve this problem alone, as ocean currents and climate systems connect the entire planet. International agreements, climate action, and investment in clean energy are critical steps toward reducing the pressures on marine environments. At the same time, local actions, such as protecting coastal ecosystems and reducing pollution, can strengthen the ocean's ability to adapt to changing conditions. Ultimately, the fate of the ocean and the future of humanity are inseparable. A warming and acidifying ocean threatens biodiversity, food security, and coastal stability, while a healthy ocean offers resilience and hope in the fight against climate change. By confronting climate change and protecting ocean systems, humanity can preserve the vital role oceans play in sustaining life on Earth and ensure a more stable and livable planet for generations to come. Protecting the ocean is not the responsibility of any single nation, organization, or group of people. It is a shared global duty that requires collective action at every level of society. Oceans connect continents, cultures, and economies, and the impacts of ocean degradation do not respect national borders. Pollution released in one country can travel thousands of miles through ocean currents. Overfishing in one region can disrupt global food supplies, and climate change driven by emissions worldwide affects marine ecosystems everywhere. This interconnected reality makes it clear that safeguarding the ocean demands cooperation, accountability, and a shared sense of responsibility among governments, businesses, communities, and individuals. Governments play a critical role in ocean protection by creating and enforcing policies that promote sustainability and conservation. International agreements on issues such as fishing quotas, marine pollution, and climate action are essential for managing shared ocean resources. Marine protected areas, when effectively designed and enforced, allow ecosystems to recover, increase biodiversity, and strengthen fish populations that spill over into surrounding waters. Strong governance also involves investing in scientific research and monitoring to better understand ocean systems and make informed decisions that balance environmental protection with economic needs. Businesses and industries that rely on ocean resources also carry a significant responsibility. The fishing industry must adopt sustainable practices that prevent overfishing, reduce bycatch, and protect marine habitats. Shipping and tourism industries need to minimize pollution, reduce carbon emissions, and operate in ways that respect marine ecosystems. Manufacturers and retailers must take responsibility for reducing plastic production and waste, shifting toward reusable and biodegradable alternatives. When businesses prioritize long-term ocean health over short-term profits, they help ensure the stability of the resources they depend on. Local communities, especially those living near coastlines, are often on the front lines of ocean conservation. Indigenous and traditional communities possess valuable knowledge about marine ecosystems developed over generations of close interaction with the sea. Including these communities in decision-making processes leads to more effective and culturally respectful conservation strategies. Community-led initiatives such as reef restoration, mangrove planting, and sustainable fishing cooperatives demonstrate how local action can have meaningful environmental and social benefits. Individuals also have the power to contribute to ocean protection through everyday choices. Reducing single-use plastics, properly disposing of waste, conserving water, and choosing sustainably sourced seafood all help reduce pressure on marine ecosystems. Supporting environmental organizations, participating in beach cleanups, and advocating for strong environmental policies amplify individual impact. While a single action may seem small, the combined effect of millions of people making conscious choices can drive significant change. Education and awareness are essential components of shared responsibility. When people understand how their actions affect the ocean, they are more likely to support conservation efforts and adopt sustainable behaviors. Schools, media, and community programs play a vital role in fostering a sense of stewardship and connection to the ocean, even for those who live far from the coast. Building this awareness helps transform ocean protection from a niche concern into a widely shared value. Technology and innovation also offer powerful tools for protecting the ocean. Advances in renewable energy, waste management, satellite monitoring, and marine science provide new ways to reduce human impact and improve conservation outcomes. However, these tools must be guided by ethical principles and equitable access to ensure that benefits are shared globally, not concentrated among a few wealthy nations or corporations. Ultimately, protecting the ocean is an expression of responsibility to future generations. The choices made today will determine whether the ocean remains a source of life, stability, and inspiration, or becomes a symbol of neglect and loss. Shared responsibility means recognizing that every action matters, from international policy decisions to individual daily habits. By working together across borders, sectors, and cultures, humanity can protect the ocean and, in doing so, protect the planet that depends on it.